Hello and welcome to my channel Health and Wellness with Emma Mental, and this is my day 16 update on this long fasting journey that I've been on and been sharing with you for the last however many days since we started. Quite incredible. There's a lot I want to talk about today, especially around this new way of being at this point in the journey. So just an update on the basics of eating. I've continued to eat half a small avo. I was actually going to show you the size of the avo for you to have a look at. So that's very little. It's about 2 tablespoons. And I have continued to have about, I would say, 2 tablespoons of nut butter a day. This, of course, can easily get out of hand if one doesn't feel disciplined and motivated to continue. But I've been really strong when it comes to foods around me. Somebody served a delicious birthday cake yesterday where I go swimming in the morning, and I fortunately didn't even feel the temptation after thinking about it and thinking it through to have some. My energy levels have been good. My blood glucose has done interesting things. I suspect it's because my insulin levels have come down, which is a good thing. So I'm continuing to watch that. At this stage, I haven't started bone broth. Some of the others have started to include bone broth for their journeys, and I feel really satisfied. I might have some broth tonight. I might have some broth tomorrow night. I'm not sure yet, but some of the products and nutritional support that I have been using, especially in the last week, I feel that one loses weight quite fast initially on this journey, and that there might be a big toxic burden from fat cells that might be released in the body. I've been trying to really understand the physiology and the mechanisms of this. It's not always that easy and clear. So yesterday I took some glutathione as well as today, and that's such a master detoxifier, such a master nutrient. I really felt the benefit from that. Lots of energy, feeling really good. So glutathione for the last 2 days has definitely, I felt, made a good difference for me. Not that I felt unwell, but I'm aware of the toxic burden potentially that would need support for the body to clear. I've also been having charcoal capsules, not as often as I would have liked to, but that's mentioned by Dave Asprey. So I've been using that most days. And then also a little bit of liver support in the form of milk thistle. I've continued to have a good dose of vitamin C every day. And I feel these nutrients have really been supportive. My energy has been good. I haven't felt like this has been a big detox on a physical level. So those are the kind of things that I'm including at the moment. Also zeolite. For a few days in the second week, I've been using a product by AIM called Herbal Fiber Blend, digestive tract support with psyllium husk, and I've added a nice big dose of zeolite to that. I think that has been supportive as well from the digestive tract point of view. Any toxins that might have potentially landed in the gut would have been removed. And I'm also using an oral spray of zeolite as well. That's been something that I use most of the time. Heavy metal support, but also nice detoxification support, especially when one is losing weight. So the weight loss really has been stalling Overall, it's about 6 kilograms that I've lost in 16 days. So rapid, but not, super rapid. If I think of the last week has been really very slow, small increments at this stage, which tells me that potentially the body is stalling this weight loss process because it's trying to address some imbalance. And that is why I wanted to add some of the detoxification support, in case that is what's making my body holding on. You can imagine when you're losing 6 kilograms of body fat, that there will be toxins that have been stored in the fat that now could be circulating in the body, and we want to be mopping that up. We want to definitely be supporting that detoxification and clearing out process. I've also been doing some body brushing, some lymphatic support. I watch a few videos of manually massaging certain lymphatic points in the body, and aware that the lymphatic system plays a crucial role during this process too. When I felt a little bit discouraged about the weight loss at this stage and feeling like, why am I doing this? Why am I carrying on? I had to also take a look at the bigger picture. I have shifted 10 kilograms since September last year, and that is significant, and that's worth acknowledging. We don't want to dismiss some of these big changes that we've made, and I've really tried to tune into my body, into where I've had to change habits, change thinking, change behavior, and that the bigger picture is really so positive. And there's about 10 more to go. So that will be phase 2. We'll see where I get to at the end of this fast. For me, this is a Lent. Even though I'm not Catholic, this for me is about giving up. And I want to talk a little bit more about what else I'm giving up and what I would like to embrace and the challenges that come with that. So you can imagine that removing food, removing the comfort of eating and meal times can make one feel quite vulnerable. And one of the others mentioned that they felt quite down. Now, I would almost expect emotions to surface, challenging emotions or feelings in the body to surface. I expect from the work that I do when one does a detoxification or when you're doing such an extended fast, that you will probably come face to face with some discomfort. Something from the past maybe that you've not quite had the time to resolve or heal, or perhaps some feelings or emotions, even traumas that you previously might have numbed with food or with eating. So now in this vulnerable state, these emotions and feelings are part of what one would be purging, and it's really worth acknowledging what comes up, especially if there's this discomfort, and especially if there is some resistance, something that feels quite difficult at this stage. So I wrote down a few notes around what this implies for me, and interestingly enough, it also overlaps with my Joy of Money course that I'm busy doing, and that there's this shift in the version of ourselves that we might have to challenge. So if you and I aspire to do something different or to be someone else, and that doesn't mean we walk away from our authentic self, but perhaps, this old outdated version has been leaning and relying on comfort eating or excessive coffee or whatever behavior it was that is now no longer positive and constructive. It's about, we trying to change behavior so it's different to who we were before we started on this fast, or it's different to who we were before we started making lifestyle changes. And it is common to then sense some of this conflict. And the job of the ego is to maintain what is certain, what is predictable. Ego, this previous version that was so well entrenched, doesn't want you to change. It wants to maintain that as status quo, even if it's not to your benefit. Ego definitely doesn't like change. So I'm thinking of ego in my case as this version of myself that was perhaps relying on comfort food, or that sometimes would go unconscious to numb or to escape uncomfortable emotions, or feeling overwhelmed, or feeling bored, or whatever the story is. Each of you will have your own version of that ego that likes to keep sometimes unhealthy habits and behaviors in place because it's predictable and it's known. So knowing who I am, that version of me that started this fast, versus having to get to know this new version of me, who would like to continue with healthy habits, who would like to continue with mindful eating, who would like to achieve this next phase of weight loss, might feel like a massive threat to this ego that's so in place. So even embodying this thinner, healthier version of myself might feel like, that's not the right thing to do, because it challenges this ego that has everything in place. It has everything in place in case of a stressful moment, or a difficult conversation, or an emotion that's not so easy to process or feel. And it can feel like the consistency of who I was before is being challenged. That will bring up these feelings of resistance, of something that I have to push through. And I sense that this is also part of this weight loss barrier that I've been experiencing. Of course, it would be easier just to give up and look the other way, but that's not really what I would like to do if I would like to implement long-term changes. So a wonderful suggestion that was made in this course that I'm doing is to create an alter ego. So an alter ego is an ego that's this new me, this new version of me. And I have already created, and I did some work around that, an alter ego for me in a state that's so abundant, where there's incredible flow when it comes to money. And in this particular instance with this fast and on this weight loss journey, I want to create an alter ego as well, a version of me that I want to get to know really well and that I feel comfortable with. So this alter ego will feel safe when she's lost another 10 kilograms. This alter ego will not turn to food or comfort or numbing when things feel difficult. She will find other useful tools like breathing, like meditation. I did some dancing on Sunday. I put some lovely rhythmic music on, made a fire, and did a lot of movement. That sort of just gets the nervous system very much into the present and into a state of flow. There are so many tools that we can use from a vagus nerve perspective. We can use meditation. We can walk outside into the garden and take a deep breath. We can go out into the sunshine or go and visit a beautiful place and feel nourished by that. So this alter ego is somebody that I would like to start strongly identifying with and rewrite this story. This outdated self is now being left behind. She's being dissolved. Yes, she will still be Emma. Yes, she will still have, the same personality, and she will have the same mannerisms. But when it comes to dysfunctional eating perhaps, or habits that are unhealthy, she's going to choose better ways of managing these emotions or these situations. So I'm challenging that old version of me very much at this stage, and it comes in as doubt. It comes in as unwanted thoughts, as temptations. So it feels very empowering to continue to choose the healthiest habits at this stage. However far I continue, and maybe it's not considered a true fast with half an hour a day and some nut butter, but as far as I'm concerned, the calorie restriction is still significant, and the healing is definitely taking place. So I hope that you found that to be interesting, and thank you so much for the comments and the views and the shares. I really appreciate it. If you are new to my channel, please subscribe. Also hit or press the button that will tell you notifications of new posts, and I will continue to share the rest of this journey. I feel extremely pleased with how things have gone. I could never have imagined to get to day 16. It's really such unfamiliar territory, and I keep having to remind myself of the enormous amount of motivation and courage it takes to really show up for something like this. But it's really been positive, even though there's been a few moments of a struggle, internal struggle. So thank you so much also for the encouraging messages that I have been receiving from you, and I will share the next update very soon.